What's going on, guys? Welcome back to FALhunter. My name's Chris, this is Tom, and we got Trout out here doing trout things. Anyways, we are back at the duck club today, and we're going to be going over just decoys.
We're going to show you guys some decoys, the quality versus quantity, and we're going to tell you guys what we like to use.
Yeah, so let's go hit the trailer and get to rolling. All right, guys, so we're here inside the trailer. We got Trout over here doing trout things, and this is my girl right here. This is Tula. She'll be 10 years old here in June, but she's a black lab, and she's my pride and joy. This little thing, old little gray face there. So anyways, we're talking decoys today.
Me and Chris have seemed to develop a system that we both agree on, we both like, and it's usually a smaller spread, but really high quality decoys. Now, not to say that that's bad or good, there's whatever works for you works. We just don't seem to like the quantity. We usually go with quality, and it's usually between, how many decoys do you think we throw out normally?
Depending on where we're going, but I'd say like anywhere from 8 to 24.
8 to 24 sounds about right.
Yeah.
And again, ours are what I would consider higher quality rather than just filler decoys. A lot, like I'll use a lot of times, I have custom flock decoys that the entire bodies are flocked. I have some really nice tangle free, it's their upper quality versions. I forget the name of the pro or something, and they're flocked heads and flocked butts. Chris has some really nice decoys too that we like to throw out. What brands do you like?
So I'm a big fan of AV&X.
They're really nice. We have some right here.
Yeah. So, let's see, here's a mallard drake and a hen. AV&X, their paint schemes on their decoys is absolutely top notch. I've hunted hard on these decoys, and I mean, there's very little fading or, paint chips or anything like that. The hens here, especially, I mean, the feather detail alone is absolutely outstanding. Another nice thing about AV&X is that they use a soft plastic. I mean, I can completely almost crush this decoy here, and it just pops right back into place.
Which comes in handy when you're hunting boats and people are jumping in and out, dogs are stepping on them,
Yeah.
people are stepping on them.
Exactly.
I mean, like these tangle-free flock heads, ones, like I said, this is our higher quality, but I can't squeeze this plastic. As a matter of fact, it feels so hard, if I were to step on it, I'm pretty sure it'd crack somewhere.
Yeah, run it over with a quad or anything like that.
I don't think this is going to survive that. As these, they will just, they'll kind of collapse and bounce back up. But
yeah,
here's some of the decoys I use. So these are tangle free. You can see the flocked head versus the AV&X's here. I mean, you can see the feather detail on those AV&X's. Those look a lot nicer than I'd say these. But the one thing that I like on these over the AV&X's, you can see the head. Just look at the coloring. It's really hard to get that real good mallard paint job on the head and nail it when the feathering or the flocking looks so realistic.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, I mean, you're a big fan of flock decoys.
Yeah, here's custom ones. These ones I've taken kind of a whooping, but I mean, you can see this whole entire thing is flocked.
Now, what do you like the flocked versus just like a regular paint scheme?
So the flocked does not reflect the sun, and a lot of times where I hunted, I just happened to hunt in areas that was big open waters. You get the sun reflection, and you can just see the shine off the decoys. No matter how high quality, if it's a flat paint, it shines. This flocking does not. It doesn't reflect any sun, doesn't reflect the light. It hides it, and I mean, just to be honest, I mean, up close, it looks real. That looks like a feather compared to even though these are, I mean, that's one of the nicest paint schemes I've seen, but even with how nice that is, if it had this flocking on it, it would look more realistic. So I mean, and you'll hear on our electronic video when we start talking about that, we go with things that look real. I like, so with the flocking, it's going to get us a little bit realer look per feather, but honestly, does it matter? I mean, if they're seeing that, if you're not getting the flare, if they're seeing it, they're probably in shootable range anyways. But I usually, like we said, we go with smaller size spread, so as realistic as I get. I mean, my dream decoy would probably actually be these AV&X's flocked. I mean, that would be a bad decoy right there.
That would be. So like when choosing a decoy, yes, with these AV&X, I did spend a little more money, but you know, if you look at what you're getting a soft plastic, you're getting a paint scheme that is more of a flat color. It's not some like high gloss paint that's really gonna shine.
And it's not just the paint either. They actually got this grooved in. The feathering is actually grooved
Oh
into
yeah,
the
the feather
plastic.
detail
Yeah.
on those hens is incredible.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, you're paying for, you know, that extra quality right there versus, you know, you've got brands out there like Redheads, for example, is a very hard, thin, cheap plastic. I don't know how many times, you know, my dad's bought some.
I've bought them.
Brand new out of the box, you rig them up and everything like that. You go and throw them out there, and as soon as they hit the water, they just split in half. Because they're too hard and the plastic is way too thin. So
Yeah,
it's like,
I've
you know,
had the same experience.
yeah, what do? Yeah, you bought a dozen decoys for a killer price, but you know, eight of the 12 work.
Yeah.
You know, 8 of the 12 float.
That day.
So yeah, that day, brand new out of the box. You know, if you're picking those up every time, and you know you got them thrown around in a decoy bag and all that kind of stuff, I mean they're gonna break. You know, you'll be lucky to get a month and a half out of those things.
Yep.
So, let's talk something that's, you know, that not a lot of guys do on a fairly regular basis as far as decoys goes, and you know, I mean, confidence decoys. Now, what do you consider to be a confidence decoy?
So I define a confidence decoy, and this is, well, I'll explain it this way. If you go to a refuge and look into a closed zone, what do you see? You don't see 3 dozen mallards swimming around. You don't see just coots swimming around. You do see a couple coots, and you do see some spoons. You do see mixed birds. And in my opinion, the confidence decoys are going to be something that gives that bird confidence. And what's going to give them more confidence in having something that looks realistic. It looks like the closed zone. So throw some spoons out there. That's a confidence decoy to me. Coot, that's a confidence decoy. It's just a decoy that represents something those birds are used to landing in and not getting shot at. Now, when they land with those 14 mallards or the 24 mallard decoys they're getting shot at, they start to learn. And when they're landing with that pair of spoons surrounded by a bunch of coots, they didn't get shot at. So in my opinion, that's going to be a confidence decoy. It's going to be throwing some spoons out, throwing some coots. Something that just is a little different from the norm that they're getting shot at and the normal that they're seeing every day during their flights through the refuge system. And it's also going to be something that pops. So for instance, a spoon has a bunch of white on it. It's going to get their attention. It's going to get the attention of those higher birds. And like I said, that represents the areas where they land and aren't getting shot at. So that's going to give them a little more confidence to commit to your spread rather than the hunter right down the next blind from you that has 3 dozen mallards sitting out there. That's not going to give them as much confidence as a spread that has a few spoons and a few coots to break it up.
Yeah, so just the overall realism. If you guys pay attention when you're out there and, you know, on those slow days to where, you know, you're looking at 45 minutes to an hour between shots, when it gets quiet, you'll start having, you know, depending on the area, you'll start having coots and everything kind of swim near your decoys. And, you know, because they're comfortable, you know, they haven't heard you go boom in a while, and they're just out there doing coot things. And yeah, they're up and they're swimming around. Or, you know, if you look off into a pond that's not being hunted, you know, you see a bunch of coots out there just messing around, and usually you see a couple spoons with them and all that kind of stuff. Well, when those good birds come over, you know, your widgeon, your mallards, your, you know, gadwall, whatever, they're going to be more drawn to birds that are already there, comfortable on the water, relaxing, doing their thing. And that's why you see, you know, you'll have birds circle you a little bit, and then boom.
As I say, how many times do you see that blind that's not being hunted where the coots and stuff have been pushed over?
Yeah.
And you got mallards, a pack of mallards working you, and
all of a sudden, whoop,
they went right over past you and past the rest of the hunters.
No swing, no nothing. They just went up from, you know, right 80 yards high to right there on the water.
So anyways, what we're getting at is break your guys' spreads up. If you're going, just because you're throwing spoons out, just because you're throwing coots out, doesn't mean you're hunting for them. It means those birds are in the area and you want your current spread to look more realistic. I mean, so make it look as much as like that close zone as possible. Throw some coots out, throw some spoons out, whatever you think's going to work and draw the attention of those birds and sets you different from the blind next to you that has all widgeon and mallards thrown out, something a little different. And that will give those birds a little more confidence to commit them, to come into you guys.
So I started running the Higdon Battleship Series spoons this year. This past season was my first year running these, and on the refuge I noticed a huge difference. Birds were committing a lot better. They were committing faster.
And again, he's not going out to hunt spoonies. He's throwing them out to give the rest of the species confidence. That's not going to draw spoonies in too, but he's talking about he started getting his teal, mallards, he's getting widgeon. They're committing better now at the end of the season.
Yeah, exactly. If you guys know me or anything, you'll know that I cannot stand shooting spoonies. I pass on these guys, or I try to pass on them all season. Every once in a while a spoon has to die, don't get me wrong, but I'm throwing these things out purely for confidence, to convince those other birds to come on in. And, like you touched on earlier, the white. For whatever reason, I've noticed that decoys that have a lot of white on them attract birds. They can see it, and they tend to commit.
Yep.
So, anyways, I think that pretty much gives a rundown as far as decoys and what we use and what we like to use and how we set up for them. So
yeah, I think for the most part, just remember when you're selecting anything, the way we judge everything is what looks most realistic and what's going to get the most attention of them birds. So that's why we start throwing this stuff. To us, in our opinion, it's looking more realistic for them. So anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. See you on the next one. Hey guys, Tom here with FALhunter. I just wanted to say thanks for watching this video. We have a ton of new videos coming out with really good information, so please hit subscribe and like, and remember to hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on anything. Come visit us on our website, Instagram, and Facebook, and drop us a comment below. Thanks again, guys, and see you soon.